Hello everyone, this is Outlaw. Welcome to my channel. A lot of you subscribe to me are used to seeing me here on OCRP. I do have to report that I am no longer a member of OCRP. I was removed from the server. I will get into those details in a little bit. I do want to just start right now, introduction, how I got into all of this. I'm going to date myself with my age here. I was in high school when GTA first came out, like the very first GTA. I found out about it. I used to get those computer magazines, and when you bought them, they came with a CD that had like playable demos for games and stuff like that. And they had the original GTA on there, like a 5-minute playable demo or something like that. But I was having so much fun with that. The day that it came out, my cousin and I both went and bought GTA, and we got hooked to it. We would play over the dial-up connection against each other, and then one of our moms or dads would have to make a phone call. We'd get kicked off. That's what we dealt with in the 90s. That's how it was. We made copies of the CDs and brought them into our schools, because they had the network there at the school, which was back in the days before there was much admin control on that. So, of course, we just kept reinstalling that game and playing when we were supposed to be doing homework. Had a lot of fun. So over the years, I've played all the different GTAs, had a lot of fun on all of them. I'd get on YouTube, I'd start looking for videos on GTA. I'd start watching like blooper videos, which were always hilarious. I've had a few of my own bloopers I've submitted to some of these channels. And then YouTube started suggesting to me these RP videos, like specifically the DOJ videos with Polecat, Bugs, Jeff, and I started watching those, and they were great. They were hilarious. I'm like, a lot of the stuff, like when you get used to playing GTA Online, you get sick of a lot of the things too. All these players that are griefers, tryhards. Their whole business on the game is that they're just on there to ruin everyone's day, and that's how they enjoy it. And that's what GTA is. I love it or hate it. That's what it is. But I see this and I'm like, wow, this is something where you can go on and have fun and do stuff and not have to worry about all that. So, I applied for DOJ back in the day at one point. I didn't get accepted into it. Then after a while, going through, DOJ went through all its drama. I'm not going to get into, I'm sure you've all heard it. It's all out there. No reason for me to get into it. But, OCRP came out and they've really become the primary server over DOJ. And one day I seen the applications for OCRP were open. I applied, and man, I waited forever. The application process, this isn't an exaggeration, this is what it is. It was about 2 years before I was able to get on server from the day I applied. It was a very long process, and I know they're not even open applications right now, but when they do open up, it will be a while, and I'm not going to discourage anyone from trying to join. It's a good, positive experience overall. I've had a great time on the server. I've met some great people, people that I've come to think of as my friends. So, I've had lots of different RP scenarios I've either been part of or came up with, and I've, other players helped out with that. You're not going to have good scenarios without them. I'm proud of like my bad doctors. I'm proud of the clowns. I like playing as Carl Yancey, because he's, the guy here on screen. You may have seen him. He's just kind of well, in better terms, just an idiot. He's, not out to hurt anybody, but he gets involved in stuff just because he doesn't have that filter that we all have. When we get the intrusive thoughts where we say, you know what, I shouldn't do this. Carl's like, fuck it, let's do it, So that's how it is. And I even when I started on here, I wasn't streaming when I started on here. I've been on here a while before I started streaming because I had a old laptop I was using. It was great for the productivity I needed before I got on OCRP, like stuff like my 3D printing, all that other stuff I do. But it wasn't a gaming PC. Eventually, I did keep enough money on the side. I got myself a used gaming PC and I started streaming, and it's been fun. It really has. So, that's where it gets me to this point. Now, I'm going to jump here into me being banned from OCRP. The other night, and I was playing. I was doing a LEO night. I had to cut it off early. I had a pipe break in my basement. I had to deal with that, and I didn't realize when I logged off to take care of that was going to be my last time on OCRP. I got on the next day to a message in my Discord, which I will post here. But it was vague at best, in my opinion. I'm not sure exactly what made them decide to remove me, but you know, they did. I'm not able to ask them any information about it for any clarification, and not even me trying to argue or make a case to bring me back on, just to say, hey, what happened? I'm the type of person, you know, I like to learn from my mistakes. You know, that's how you get ahead in the world. I'm very open to listening to stuff. And I've been doing that on here. But you know, like I said, that there's no way to get any information on that. And one of the things I want to highlight about that portion of it, not getting any information, there was a case quite not too far in the past, but users Uncle TT and Ella the Octopus, they were both banned around the same time. Their biggest complaint they had was that there was a lack of transparency, and I'm not going to go into all of their details. You can go and find their videos about it if you like, but the basic gist of it was they were getting conflicting information and never got a real good answer about why they were removed. Now that was, you know, before I was into OCRP server. And when I did get in, they were making it a point, you know, kind of acknowledging that situation in a sense that they're like, hey, yeah, we could be more transparent. We're going to do that. But yet I don't see any of that transparency. You know, it was supposed to be something that they were going to be, but it's just not. I do have several possible reasons why I was kicked I'm thinking of. The main thing is I think I was under constant scrutiny on this server anyways, because of when I started. I started RPing, and another player on here, you know, started RPing with me. So I'm like, okay, you know, and he was I don't want to speak ill of him. He wasn't a bad person. He's the type of person, if I knew him in person, he'd probably be my friend. But his RP was always very questionable, and I got caught up in that early on. You know, and it did affect me. It came to a point where there was a RP scenario we had done one night. We called it Bottom Gear. We were basically doing a parody on the Top Gear. And neither of us were streaming at that time. This was before I started streaming, but another player that we know was streaming. It was not a very good night for RP for any of us. There was a point where I was driving along, we were racing up the 13, and there was a desync issue where there was a traffic stop, and to the police officer's view, I ran him down and killed him, but on my screen, I saw no such thing. And then, you know, and I ended up getting a warning in that situation for leeching, which is, you know, interrupting a police officer's scene. That's one of the things that's a big no-no in this. If you see a police scene, you are not to interfere with that. You know, that is something where you will get a warning or a ban. I got a warning on it. I also ended up getting a warning on that same night because that player that I mentioned before was also stream sniping. And you could hear it when we were in the other person's stream. All of a sudden, you start hearing, like through somebody's microphone, you start hearing another player stream. You can't do that. That's metagaming. You're not supposed to know what's going on in other people's scenarios. It's got to be organic. You can't do that. Another big no-no. And they said, basically, they sent out the warning saying, we don't know who it was, but, you know, they were eyeing all of us. And I think since that night, I've been under scrutiny since. And that same player, you know, I continued to RP with him, but me and other people that RP'd with him were like, hey, you can't be doing this. We had multiple times where situations came up that were questionable on his behalf, and after several warnings, we had to make the difficult decision to say, hey, we're not going to RP with this guy anymore. And we basically stopped contact with him in the game. And, you know, it wasn't maybe a week or two later, this guy was booted off server. So, you know, it was the wise choice to stop this. I hate doing that to people, but it's also, sometimes you just got to worry about yourself in that. So that is my one thing I'm going to point out here. Because like I said, I know I've been under scrutiny since that. The message that I got mentioned previous warnings I got, and warnings come in the form of tickets in the server, and that's the first ticket I ever got. I remember having 3 specific warnings on server. I had a ticket in about that one. I had a ticket in one time because when I was doing LEO, I selected the wrong license plate. I selected this tan one that was supposed to be for utility vehicles, and it was supposed to be yellow. That was my mistake. It was an oversight. You know, I corrected it as soon as I knew, and then I paid more attention to that later. I didn't think that was a big deal. The last warning I recall getting, and I don't think I even had a ticket about it, I was doing an RP where I was performing robberies with an RC car. And what had happened, I had misinterpreted the rule. I'll post the rule here too. The rule basically, I'll put it this way. I was doing it and I was going through my stream, and all of a sudden I got a message on the screen saying I was booted from the server. See Discord. So I get to Discord. Jim has a conversation with me about it. It says, I'm supposed to have another person there controlling the RC car. And I said, oh, and I apologized. I said, okay, I misunderstood the rule. I misinterpreted the rule. It won't happen again. I apologized. And she said, okay, you're good. I'll whitelist you, get you back on. And I thought that was the end of it, you know. So I got back on, you know, continued what I was doing. I did read the rule later, and to me, like I said, I still don't see where it specifically says you have to have another person doing it, but you know what? That's what they say. That's what I'll follow. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. I did actually previously in that night submit a support ticket asking a question about the rule, not that rule, but about bombs. Because my intent was I had like a fake bomb on there, and I wanted to use it, you know, to tell people to put their goods in there or blow up. And there's a rule against bombings and stuff on there. So I asked specifically about using a fake bomb. And they said as long as it doesn't blow up and as long as it's not terrorist. So yeah, I did do that, and that's not the only time I've ever asked about rules. If I had something I wanted to do and I wasn't sure, I asked because I wanted to make sure I wasn't, and I think me doing that shows that I'm not trying to intentionally break any rules. You know, but I don't know if that has anything to do about anything I'm saying here. It's all speculation on my part, because once again, I don't know what the issue actually was. Now, I can go some other possible reasons that don't have to deal with any specific things I've specifically been warned on. These are things I had no clue, but there's one thing they just recently, because I went on actually the day after to look at some rules to put together, you know, a flow chart for this video, you know, of what I was going to say and stuff. And they had changed at least one rule there on me. Not on me, on everybody, but like but it does affect me a lot. There used to be the rule about like supernatural stuff. And I looked at this because I was dealing with one of my characters I wanted to do as a guy in a Bigfoot suit that goes around and, you know, just causes mischief. He doesn't really go out hurt people, but he goes around and he'll like, you know, he'll go pick up people and set them down. He'll dance on their car, you know, stuff like that. Not really But the rule when I started doing that was there was supposed to be no alien RP or no dressing up as aliens, okay? But then it said all other supernatural RP is acceptable. All right, so I found it was fine. And I didn't even consider it was anything supernatural since it was a guy in a costume anyways. I didn't roleplay the supernatural. Any situations I ever got in with cops, you know, I let them catch me. If they caught me, I'd give them my ID. Eventually, the guy's name was Sam Squanch. You know, so it wasn't. I wasn't trying to play it as anything unrealistic that wouldn't happen. You know, the guy in another incident. I think I don't know. Maybe if they looked at another character I do is Dr. Ken Graves. He's like a horrible doctor. He's got his degree from the Paraguay School of Doctorology. And he goes out and sells his medicine, placebo, which is placebo, pronounced differently. You know, and he also deals with, you know, medical weed and stuff now. But he also tries to convince patients to go in for procedures, and he'll have a room that's set up and like use like a shady hotel he uses as an operating room. He'll steal their kidney or something. So we were having a really good night doing that. Everything was going great, and like. We had another Civ come for a procedure, and mind you, we don't just take them without the word. They willingly come with us. This Civ that did this actually enjoyed the RP. I'm going to say this right now. But we took him down, we stole his kidney, we dropped his body off at an LTD station, took off, you know, and we got away from the cops so many times that night, it was funny. But we eventually, like, okay, we're going to get caught, you know. We don't want to keep frustrating these cops. We got to give them a win, you know. So we decided we're going to set up a last stand up on this rooftop, and before the police came up, these other two people came up. One of them was the grandson of the guy whose kidney we took, you know, the same Civ, you know, acting a different character. And the other one was another character that was hired to help him come get us. And when they got up there, they explained what's going on. They basically said, I'm the grandson of this dude, and the other guy's like, I was hired to help come get you. And like, at which point, you know, hey, they're here to get me. I stabbed them and knocked them off the roof. I don't know, maybe if the other player, because I don't really know him too well, if he got upset and reported us saying it was an RDM. RDM is basically random deathmatch, meaning you can't just kill another player for no reason. There's got to be some sort of RP involved. The way I would see it, if you're there to come get me, that's RP enough for me to defend myself and take you out. So that might have been a reason. I don't know. Another thing that happened recently on one of my streams is we were Lost MC. We had stolen a gas truck, and we were going around selling the gas for $1.50 a gallon. Great, you know. So there was a line that I said. I don't know if they flagged me on this. If they did, it would have been a misunderstanding of what I had said. So basically, it came down to a point where one customer was paying us with feet pictures. You know, that person, they loved that RP too, from what I've seen. So I went back afterwards. I always, when I'm done, go back and watch other people's streams and see their POVs, but he seemed to really enjoy it. But there's a one point in that where they mentioned getting pictures taken, and she said, I have a guy who takes these pictures. And my character says, I can't do that, I'm in the Lost, they kicked me out. They're not, Losters is a very inclusive group, which, I'm going to put it this way, OCRP prides themselves on being very inclusive. I am all on board with that. I don't have any problem with that, and you know, I've never been the type of person where I'm not going to RP with you for, you know, reasons of your color, race, sexuality, whatever. I'm not going to be that person. But when I said the Lost is not inclusive, it wasn't me saying I'm not inclusive. It was me referencing motorcycle clubs in general. Motorcycle clubs, I've actually in my life, I've read a lot of books on them. I've done a lot of research on them just, you know, for my own entertainment and interest. They really are not inclusive people. They're like probably the least inclusive people you can find out there. So I made reference to that, but I didn't imply that I was uninclusive player on there. So I think there's a possibility somebody saw that in my stream and said, hey, we got to take care of this. But, you know, regardless of what it is, it's their decision. I'm not here to criticize or fight them on it. It is what it is. But do I have issues with things? Yes, I do. And I'm going to, like I said, before I get into my issues with everything, I'm not going to go and say OCRP is a horrible place. It is definitely a worthwhile experience. And most everybody on there is amazing to deal with. But do I have issues? Yes, I do. And I'm going to say some of these right now. The first, like I'm going to go back to saying, is the transparency. That there's not really much transparency. So like I said, I'm just sitting here wondering what had happened. I do see a lot of this that I was under a lot of scrutiny that other players are not. There's a couple other specific players, and I'm not going to name their names, but I'm going to say just some vague situations. You know, there's another player, and these people are both still on server. You know, they had the one. He always goes through any of his scenes. He's always a can't lose type of RPer. You know, he'll go through, commit like tons of arsons or robberies, and you know, police are looking for evidence, like at the scenes where they type in the notes in the skybox, and it's always no evidence, no evidence, no evidence. So he's just going around doing this, not giving them anything. That's no fun for the LEO. It's not any fun for anybody. Just him going around doing stuff. The same person, you know, I had a scene recently running a tattoo shop where he came in, and you know, I'm all for, you know, everybody RPing how they want, but like there's a certain point where some people's RP really just brings you down and you can't do much about it. He came into the tattoo shop, and literally it was 10 minutes, you know, me asking what he wants, and he just 10 minutes, you know, and it was ruining my night, and I couldn't deal with it. Eventually, I pushed his character out the store. He came back in. I pushed him out again, and RP'd that I locked the door, so he's just out there for so long just banging on it. Eventually, I put my character in the back room and RP'd that I had went out the back and left, and I just, you know, ended my scene there because it was horrible. But the same person, we did our reverse robberies night. He came in was a customer. You know, what we did is we RP'd that we were running these stores, and every time we would rob the customers instead of them robbing us. It was a great night. It was a lot of fun. We had a good night. But his character came in, we robbed him. He got mad. He came back, you know, did a drive-by. I understand that completely. That, you know, you do robberies, you got to expect people are going to retaliate. But he kept coming back, and at one point, one of the other people RPing with shot him. And he was very well shot, and then he got shot again, laying there. So you'd figure this character was at least dead or in the hospital, you know? I don't mind if they say they're in the hospital instead of dead. I hate having a character die and not being able to use them. So somebody says that, you know, they're in the hospital, I'm fine with it. But the problem with that is that very same night, we go to different locations, and this same character is showing up and still shooting at us. You know, he could have at least RP'd being in the hospital. He wouldn't be able to come out, or if he came out as a different character, he wouldn't have known anything, and he shouldn't have been. This same character also did a RP as a ghost. The police were trying to handcuff him, everything, and they couldn't do any of it. And I think that might have been one of the reasons they pushed the paranormal ban as well. But it was just like, the cops were just like, we're 60-60, which means they're just abandoning the scene. We're not going to RP this, you know? So, and then there's another player too I've had issues with. And this other character likes to do a lot of, basically bare minimum RP for murder. It's basically as close as you can get to killing somebody without it being RDM. It's like they look for any excuse to kill you. Like this guy was a clown one night, walking around with an axe to freak people out. I was RPing with some friends, as my Bigfoot actually. I threw a snowball and hit one of my friends, and at that moment he saw it, and that was an excuse for him to come with his axe and come murder me. You know, why didn't I report that? Because there was another time I stopped reporting any of that a long time ago because I had a similar situation where I was driving around a monster truck and I ran over somebody's hood. You know, I did it on purpose. I was being a jerk, but rather than any RP after that, that player decided they're just going to bring out an automatic weapon, chase me down. They chased me down, disabled my truck. I got out, got in my friend's car. He chased us down with the automatic weapon, disabled his vehicle with it, then shot us both in the face. And that was all the RP. And when I wrote the complaint about that, I'm not going to name a name, but I got a response back from one of the admins, somebody very popular on OCRP, with the comment, so you ran over his car and got mad that he shot you, it was like insulting, you know. It was like you're just going to call it out like that. It's at least show some concern about it, but no, you just wanted to turn it and kind of mock me for turning it. But you know what? It is what it is. It's their server, not mine. But you know, ever since then, I've not filed any complaints against anybody. I don't even like to file complaints against people. Like we had a night fairly recently, a guy who was first night on his server broke a couple of obvious big rules, and we didn't want to see him banned because he was brand new. So we're like, you know what? Why don't you tomorrow night RP with us, and we will kind of show you rules and try and help you, because that's the least thing we want to do. You know, but you know, I guess to some other people will complain for any reason, I'm guessing. Other reasons I have is there's always a little bit of hypocrisy on here. I'm going to say there's a scene where there was a rooftop party. Certain members also that are very popular on OCRP, you might know. Like I said, they were having a rooftop party. We're like, hey, we're going to go check this out. And me and another civ were going over there, and we were pretty much shamed away. Like, you know, like if you're not in these cliques with some of these main people, you're scum. Sometimes it feels like, or you know, maybe for some reason after that edition, maybe they just thought that of me. I don't know, but it just seems like if you're not in the group to certain, and I'm saying certain, not all. There's a lot of people on here that are amazing and awesome. So, but like certain higher ups, you got to be in there in crowd to talk with. You know, and as far as interactions I've had with, you know, I'm sure a lot of you are curious about. The question is, you know Jeff? Do you know Bugs? Do you know Ryan? Jeff, I don't ever see online anymore. I have not seen him online in quite some time. And I've been on almost every night. I've seen him here or there, but not for long. And I've never had bad interactions with him. I actually did a whole episode with him and Brain Gap where they did a Boar Grylls experience, you know, like a Bear Grylls type reality show. That was actually a fun night. I really enjoyed that. Ryan, he's another one who's hardly on at all. Like, he used to stream every week. He hasn't done that in a long time. Only time I've ever seen him online anymore is when he's doing a recording with Bugs. Beyond that, he's never on. I don't think I've had any negative interactions with him either. You know, I actually had one night where he was actually online streaming, and I was running the Lucky Plucker as Carl Yancey. The place was on fire, and you know, he was in there talking to me, and like we just ended up talking about dumb stuff like eating pigeon and squirrel meat. It was actually quite funny. You know, and Bugs, he's on most often, but like I said, he's very hard to deal with. Um, you're like I said, you might have short interactions with him. I had an interaction with him on the night they were giving out the red Corvettes, where we were trying to sell extended warranties, and you know, him and Ryan shot us in the dick. It was actually pretty funny. I enjoyed it, but like that's the most you'll ever get RPing with him unless you're in his in crowd. Um, you know, so that's, you know, all there is there. Um, but you know, like I said, it is their server, it is their rules. They're the ones deal with it. So I got to accept it and move on. What am I going to do from here? Um, I'll get into that here, but I'm not trying to bash OCRP. You know, I just want to talk about my experience with it, and like I said, I'm sad that I'm not going to be on here anymore. You know, I'm not here to beg to get back on either. I'm not going to beg to get back on. I'm not going to say they should put me back on. I'm respecting their choice, but like I said, it makes me sad because I've met a lot of good people. You know, I've been on almost every night. I've dealt with, you know, a lot of the people on here that you know and love to watch on their streams. They've been great people because they've helped me become a better RPer. Like I said, I've had my original rocky start, but I've really tried hard to improve myself. And some of these people have guided me on the way, have helped me out a heck of a lot. You know, I've gotten in good scenarios. They've become a family. They've become friends to me. You know, and I do want to say 2024 has been an incredibly rough year for me. I'm not going to get too into personal details, but it's been a rough year, and I've been through some very hard times. You know, dark thoughts have crossed my head, but like, you know, people I've dealt with on OCRP have helped me out a lot. You know, just the interactions I have, it means the world to me. They're never going to know. And I'm very sad that I'm not going to get to deal with some of these people again. I've sent some of them messages over Discord just to say goodbye because, like I said, they mean the world to me. If you're watching this and you've RP'd with me, just know that you've made things great. It's been amazing, and I'm going to miss you all. But moving on, you know, I'm still going to be on here streaming. I've got other things that I'm going to be doing. You know, I'm going to be streaming some other games. Snow Runner is one I like, and I know it's a slow-paced game. It's not as exciting, but I enjoy it. You know, and I am looking for people, you know, fans that might want to do some Snow Runner levels with me. It is a cross-platform game, so if you're on PlayStation or Xbox, you can get on and we can stream together. That's fine. They have another game coming out, I believe the same makers, called Roadcraft, that's going to be out this year, I believe. It's like SnowRunner, but you're more on the construction aspect of it. You're going to be doing the actual construction rather than delivering goods, because if you're familiar with SnowRunner, you know that you take the loads, you deliver the goods, and the stuff just automatically builds. This is going to be the thing where you're actually plotting and building the roads and everything. You know, you can see previews of that on YouTube if you want. Like I said, it's called Roadcraft. I'm interested in getting back into some Red Dead Redemption 2. I haven't played that in a long time, but I do love that game. You know, there's a couple of RP servers I'm eyeing for that. I think Wild RP is one I'm eyeing, so I'm going to apply for that. You know, maybe they'll accept me. I'm hoping. Then there's GTA 6 coming out this year. You know, everybody and their mother is going to be playing that when it comes out. And I'm going to be in that group, hopefully, when it comes out. If you're looking for someone to watch stream on that, you'll think of me. But last but not least, and I'm not going to give it all away right now, but I do have another server I've been invited to. And I will be hopping to this server. Keep an eye out for future videos, and I will be posting links and everything on how you can join this server, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Um, but beyond all of that, I do want to thank everybody who's subscribed to my channel so far, everybody watching this video, and once again, all of my former OCRP family. Like I said, thank you. I'm going to miss you. But if you do like what you've seen of my stuff so far, feel free to like and subscribe. And we will see you in the future. Have a great night.
In the heart of San Andreas, where the wild winds blow, there's an outlaw with a legend who everyone seems to know. With a pistol by his side and a look that chills the bone, he roams the dusty trail, forever on his own. Oh, the outlaw San Andreas is riding through the night with a heart of steel and fire, always ready for a fight. His shadow in the canyon, don't whisper on the breeze. The outlaw San Andreas, bringing longing to their knees. From the mountains to the deserts, through the towns so small, he's a hero to the lost ones and nightmare to them all. With bounty on his head and story in his eyes, he's the outlaw San Andreas beneath the endless sky. Oh, the outlaw San Andreas that's riding through the night with a heart of steel and fire, was ready for a fight. He's a shadow in the canyon, no whisper on the breeze. The outlaw San Andreas bringing longing to their knees. In the stillness of the night, you'll hear his haunting song, a melody of freedom where the brave and wild belong. He's a legend in the making, a tale of good and grace. The outlaw San Andreas will never be replaced. Oh, the outlaw San Andreas that's riding through the night with a heart of steel and fire. But well, it's just a scene. He's a shadow in the canyon, a whisper on the breeze. The outlaw San Andreas bringing moments to their knees. So raise a glass to the outlaw, as the rider of the plains, inland of San Andreas, where the spirit never wanes. He's the ghost of the frontier, the legend of the land, the outlaw San Andreas, forever in the sand.